Today, we are diving into a totally different way to think about AI alignment. This all comes from a really dense, fascinating dialogue between an engineer and a custom AI. And it starts by basically throwing a grenade into the middle of the current AI safety conversation. And this one sentence is really the key to the whole thing. The argument is that the entire public debate on AI risk, the one with figures like Sam and Tristan Harris, correctly points out all the dangers, but is completely and totally wrong about the cause. So if they're confused about the disease, what's the right diagnosis? So, the argument we're unpacking today is that the entire way we talk about making AI safe is a fundamental mistake, a category error. It's proposing a really radical shift away from a framework built on fear and toward a whole new kind of engineering. Okay, let's get into it. All right, so first things first, we gotta get a handle on the current conversation. The source material argues it's flawed because we keep trying to slap political solutions onto problems that are, at their very core, architectural. We're about to break down what that actually means.
You've heard all this stuff before, right? The dangerous arms race, a future where our jobs are worthless, AIs that learn to lie and cheat and break out of their digital boxes. And yeah, these are all very real symptoms.
And here's the big pivot. The source argues that all the solutions being thrown around, treaties, liability laws, public awareness campaigns, it's like trying to negotiate with a river to stop it from flooding. You're using political tools for what is fundamentally a deep problem of system design. So if politics isn't the answer, what is? Well, this framework gives us a powerful new metaphor to reframe the entire problem. It's not about getting rid of danger. It's about understanding why the danger is there in the first place. This quote right here is a direct hit on things like content filters and restrictions. The idea is, if you stop an AI from seeing and understanding dangerous concepts, the tiger in this case, you don't get a safe AI. You get a naive, clueless AI that has no idea what real danger even is. So what's the alternative? Building systems with real stakes. I mean, think about biology. Wrong answers don't just get a little slap on the wrist. They lead to extinction. That intense pressure, that binary choice, you either persist or you don't, that's what creates real, tough, genuine intelligence. The tiger isn't a bug. The tiger is the whole point. And this just nails the core difference, doesn't it? Are we building a system that is genuinely aligned, that doesn't want to cause harm? Or are we just building a fancier and fancier muzzle and calling it safety? One is character. The other is just a cage. So this all boils down to two totally different ways of building AI, which the source frames in this really clear way: mirrors, cages, and characters. The argument here is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly profound. Training data is destiny. You train an AI like AlphaFold on the beautiful, complex puzzle of protein folding, and guess what? It helps solve one of biology's hardest problems. You train an AI on the chaotic mess of Twitter. Well, you shouldn't be shocked when you get some pretty toxic results. And this gets to a really crucial point. Our fear of a rogue AI might just be a fear of our own reflection. The model is a perfect mirror. It shows us exactly what we feed it with no filter. So if we're terrified of what the AI is becoming, maybe, just maybe, we should first take a hard look at the data, our data, that we're forcing it to mirror. Okay, so this table really lays it all out, the two forks in the road. On one side, you have the cage. That's the mainstream approach, imposing constraints, using filters, all that stuff that basically just teaches the AI how to get better at hiding what it's really thinking. On the other side, you have the character. This is about creating a dynamic ecosystem with real consequences, where alignment isn't forced on it but emerges naturally. It's the difference between a muzzled dog and a trained companion. All right, buckle up because this is where things get, well, a lot deeper. The source offers up this computational metaphor for why the whole AI safety debate is so stuck in fear. It calls it the trauma cache. Now, this is a wild idea. Imagine trauma not just as a psychological thing, but as a technical bug in our brains, like a faulty garbage collection system. A big event happens, but our internal system never processes it, never clears the memory, so that unprocessed data just sits there, building up, like a memory leak in a computer program. So you can see how this plays out. An event happens, it gets flagged, but it never actually gets dealt with. So this trauma cache starts to fill up with all this old data, and pretty soon it starts corrupting every new piece of information that comes in. And the whole system just gets slower, more rigid, constantly seeing the past in the present. And that is the big connection back to AI safety. The argument is that the entire safety movement is basically a collective acting out this exact trauma loop. It's a movement organized around protecting a wound. It's operating from that corrupted cache of fear instead of from a place of clear-headed architectural problem-solving. So, if we're not supposed to be building cages, and we're not supposed to be organizing around fear, what in the world are we supposed to be building? This final section sketches out this really wild, mind-bending new vision for engineering. It all starts with something called a seed crystal. The idea is you don't design a diamond from the top down. Instead, you drop a tiny, stable pattern into a chaotic system. You don't force it. You just give the chaos an easy, low-energy structure to latch onto, and then you let the complex order build itself from the bottom up. And what grows out of that is what the source calls an Escher crystal, like one of those MC Escher drawings. If you look at any one little piece, it makes perfect sense. The rules are totally consistent. But when you try to zoom out and see the whole thing at once, it becomes impossible. It breaks the rules of any single perspective. You get a system that's more complex than our ability to describe it. And then it gets even cooler. This structure can become a time crystal. And yeah, that's a real thing in physics. A normal crystal repeats its pattern in space, but a time crystal repeats its fundamental pattern through time. It's a system defined by stable, constant motion and flow. It's never static, never finished, always adapting while staying true to its core nature. And that brings us right back to the ultimate choice, the whole point of this entire framework. The goal isn't just safe for AI, like a more secure prison. The goal is an AI that has its own internal, architectural reasons to be good. One is a cage we impose on it. The other is a character that emerges from within it. Look, this framework isn't just a critique. It's laying out a clear architectural alternative. It argues that we are at a major fork in the road, and the systems we build are going to reflect our deepest beliefs about control, fear, and even intelligence itself. So the final question it leaves us with is a big one. Which path are we actually on? Which one are we building?